everyone, and welcome back to Don't Open That Door. I am Justin, the kind of unwilling captain.
I'm Nico, the intern who is going to leave a very bad rating on Yelp about this instance here.
And I'm Dan, the technical sergeant.
And we are here today to review Event Horizon. Directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, this stars Lawrence Fishburne as Captain Miller, Sam Neill as Dr. Ware, and Joelle Richardson as Lieutenant Stark. So we open with the crew of the Lewis and Clark, who have been joined by the enigmatic Dr. Ware. They have been tasked with a search and rescue mission on the Event Horizon. You see, the Event Horizon was actually designed by Dr. Ware, and it was equipped with a super powerful gravity drive, basically allowing them to instantaneously go to different places in the universe. So it was supposed to visit a star outside of the solar system, but it mysteriously disappeared. That is, until it mysteriously reappeared outside of Neptune. So, Nico, what happens from there?
You know, it's never, not mysterious whenever something reappears. It's never like, oh, yeah, that was supposed to happen. It's always just out of thin air. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this. When the crew approached the planet, they intercepted a pretty disturbing message that's being broadcasted by the ship. And after applying some expert Fukin analysis, which can be summed up in any of you folks speak Latin, they find out there's some words that are being said in the broadcast. Liberate me, save me. Undeterred, the crew continued on. After boarding the Event Horizon, and Justin, no relation to everyone's favorite host here, the ship's engineer finds the gravity core still active. The core lets out a pulse, which critically damages the Lewis and Clark, and Justin is pulled in, and he's got to be rescued. We got to go get your boy, y'all. He comes out in near comatose state.
All right, I mean, typically, I almost kind of feel like that would maybe make somebody not want to continue on. But what does the crew do, Dan?
Smart person.
Well, they continue exploring the ship. They really have no other choice, though, because their ship is pretty much destroyed from that blast.
True.
So while they're exploring the ship, they're experiencing these terrifying hallucinations that kind of reveal some of their dark secrets. So they locate a videotape showing the crew's last minutes, which happens to be a murder orgy.
Not an exaggeration.
Literally
Trust
not.
us.
So the crew quickly comes to the consensus that something is wrong aboard the ship, but Dr. Weir seems to remain in denial. Traumatized by what he has seen, Justin attempts to decompress himself in the airlock and kind of shoot himself out of the spaceship, but is saved by Miller and placed in stasis.
Sir, I think you'll find that the term is stasis.
Oh, stasis.
Oh my
I'm sorry,
God.
stasis.
Stasis. Anyhow, at this point, the crew continue to have hallucinations of their past trauma. Each kind of crew member, including Dr. Weir, seems to be experiencing these visions through some kind of malicious hauntings almost. But over time, Dr. Weir himself starts to lose his grip on sanity, and he actually begins attacking the crew. Lieutenant Stark also uncovers the true nature of the Event Horizon. It turns out that it broke basically through the law of physics and opened up a portal to this real fucking hellish dimension, which warped the crew and actually made the ship into a living entity. Upon this realization, Captain Miller thought for a second and was like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. So he asks his crew to fix the Lewis and Clark so that they can leave. But do they succeed, Nico? What happens next?
Right, so things go from bad to worse, and Dr. Ware's just pretty much officially loses his entire goddamn marbles. He's driven mad through exposure to this insane hell dimension, and he decides to, become the avatar of the Event Horizon itself, enacting its will on the crew. So he then destroys the newly repaired Clark. Damn, just... You hate to see it, folks, twice now. So the crew no longer have an escape route. Captain Miller then has a confrontation with Dr. Ware, who at this point has been mauled and lacerated all across his body, looks just right fucked up. And he tells Captain Miller one of the most memorable lines from the film, "Where we're going, we don't need eyes to see." The two fight, and Dr. Ware is sucked out of the ship, and Captain Miller escapes.
Okay. Dan, kind of what follows after that?
So Captain Miller realizes that he must destroy the Event Horizon, so he rigs the ship to explode, as the crew can use the starboard half of the ship as an escape pod, as it was designed to be. Unfortunately, the explosives can only be detonated remotely, so Captain Miller orders Lieutenant Stark and Cooper, the two surviving members, along with Justin, who's in stasis, to go to the life deck while he detonates the explosives.
He detonates it in sleep.
So Nico, how does this movie end, man? What happens?
So there's a final confrontation between Captain Miller and a reincarnated Dr. Ware at the ship's core. The ship's influence, along with Dr. Ware's abilities, make for a tough fight, but in the end, it doesn't even matter because Miller blows the ship up. The conclusion finally arrives with Lieutenant Stark, Cooper, and Justin finally being rescued. But Dr. Ware does briefly haunt Stark in a dream. But they wake up and manage to make it out alive and finally get rescued. And the memories stay with them, and the real friends was the journey they had along the way, as well as all the metaphors that I just mixed up there.
A little bit.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. Don't lie to me.
So I guess we'll take things off now from the technical standpoint. Let's lead with audio. Dan, what do you think about the audio in this movie?
I thought it was pretty good. I kind of enjoyed the music, except for the final scene, or the credit scene, had sort of that like Resident Evil 90s like electro grunge something song that kind of came out of nowhere.
Electro grunge?
Yep.
It's the type of shit you know would be playing in Potomac Mills.
Yeah.
Whoa. Mall X.
Mall
Mall X.
Mall.
Okay, in Potomac Pills.
Hey, Matomic Pills is my new rap name.
On your way to get Bucciano's.
Bucciano.
So that kind of threw me off because like the movie ends in this like, you know, oh my God, we finally made it, yay, but still like haunted. And then like some like electro grunge synth pop comes in. I'm like, wait, what? So that was kind of weird. I will say there were some of the like sound effects. I think Nico in a previous movie, I can't remember which movie, had mentioned like some of the sound effects were very like 90s, like when like punch people, sometimes you hear that stuff.
Yeah,
like,
that was Blackula.
No,
yeah.
Blade. Was it Blade or Blackula?
I don't remember.
Both.
Well, both, yeah. So that was not so bad in this one, but a little bit. Other than that, I kind of like the audio personally.
Okay. First off, Nico, after hearing Dan's description of the post-grunge electro pop
Electro pop grunge.
Trent Reznor has joined the chat.
of the ending credits, I don't really know if you feel the same way, but let me ask you this. How do you feel about the scoring of the film in general, not counting the ending?
Sure. So I really like it on the whole. It feels like it takes place in space. Like the way the movie sounds, it's very fitting and it shares a lot of just sort of tonality from, and we're going to get into influences in a little bit here, but you know, obviously Alien, the like big granddaddy of them all. But I do enjoy the music regardless. Like there aren't any really standout tracks or themes or motifs that come through all over the place, but it's well used as an atmosphere element. There's not really too much else to say.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. I mean, I pretty much agree with both of you. Now, visually speaking, and I'll lead off here, I was a real big fan of the design of the interior of the Lewis and Clark. That's exactly how I imagined a small craft would look in the age of space travel. And the interior of the Event Horizon was done very well. I really thought that it's a simplistic design, right? It's just a long corridor essentially that has two sections, the fore and the aft. Now that's ship terms for the front and the back. Remember, I am an underwater philosopher, so I had to learn this.
Oh, yeah.
That scans.
That's
yeah.
right.
No, you've got the certifications. You came with the receipts, ladies and gentlemen.
So it's that, but the gravity chamber, it's not the hyperbolic time chamber, the ship's core that has the gravity engine,
World's slowest horror movie.
that chamber with the gravity engine is fucking terrifying. It
Kind
looks
of,
so
yeah.
Cool.
Even the walls, like the walls have fucking spikes. Why would you make a room with spikes aside to kill motherfuckers? Like somebody dies on the spikes, and I was like, you know what? Much like when I played Sonic the Hedgehog as a kid, I saw that shit coming.
Yep.
Like I was like, bro.
And when you were playing Sonic the Hedgehog as a kid and you got your first taste of real recording and saw some acoustic foam with all the like little spikes, I imagine the director had a similar moment in their life and was just like, I've just found my entire aesthetic.
Look, I don't know, but let me
But
go
it
ahead.
looks good though. I'm clowning on it because it's silly, but it looks really great.
Well, it does, but Dan, what can you tell me about some of the other scenery?
Well, the other scenery was space. So it was, I mean,
So eat shit, Justin.
we talked about the Lewis and the Clark and the Event Horizon. Those are the only two places, really. But no, I mean, it all looked good. I agree with you. I think that the design of everything was just really well done. I liked a lot of the effects, and the gore and stuff was pretty cool. And like when
The gore was really good, I gotta say.
yeah, and there was like one scene, what was it, near the end, I think, when Dr. Weir and Captain Miller were fighting. Dr.
Right,
Weir
right,
like
right.
shows him like flashes of like this like pain dimension type thing or whatever. I can't remember. And we see like quick flashes of just like some grotesque like murder
Cuts him with
orgy.
Hellraiser, yeah.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, it looked good, like as fucked up as that sounds. But like
The fidelity, not the death orgy.
right.
I mean-
it looked kind of fun, you know. But
I mean, if there's any way to go.
To each their own.
even that was cool. And there was a cool scene where near the beginning when they first get to the Event Horizon, there's like a body that's like floating around before they engage
That
the
shit
gravity.
was really nice.
And then they engage the gravity in the Event Horizon, and the body falls down, just shatters into like ice. And that was like kind of cool, I thought.
So one thing I also wanted to point out, Nico, this movie had some pretty clear 3D effects that it tries to do.
Yeah, that's true.
In particular, there were some droplets that were clearly coolant from the engine room, and the characters would kind of touch them, and they would get them on their hands and kind of be like, and like push them towards your face, and it would be coming at you. Do we know if this was released in 3D or if the effect was just there to say, "Wow, look at this"? Do we know anything
Did they
about
have
that?
3D theaters in 1987?
Well, all
I feel like
theaters
they
are 3D,
must
Dan,
have.
but I mean, do they?
Fuck.
Okay. Okay.
In which we reach the beginning of the circle.
Touche.
Hold on, I'm gonna do some real quick scientific research. When
You're really
we
pulling
have
out all the
3D
philosopher
images.
shit.
I mean, fuck, not 3D images. God damn it, Justin.
It's okay. We've had 3D
We're
images for a
fucking
while
this
now.
up so bad.
But in any case, I thought my point I was trying to make is those kind of showed their age a little bit.
Yeah.
That was kind of the point. But and it's interesting that we've had this kind of warped discussion because I want to ask you guys, and I'll start with you, Nico. What
Hit me.
genre is this movie really? What would you categorize this as? It's horror, but what kind of horror?
Yeah, I would definitely more categorize it as like a romantic comedy.
I can see it.
Yeah,
No,
no,
murder
no.
orgies.
Yeah, murder. Yeah, actually. This is something that I would say dips its toes into cosmic horror, but it's not like full on. It's much more of a heavy sci-fi influence than anything, which again, like I said, it's paying a lot of homage to its, influences and whatnot. So I think I would just say it is a pretty straight ahead horror film, even though it takes place in, space and has a fucking hell dimension. I don't know if that's a concise answer, but that's my answer.
All right, I'm going to go ahead now and shift over to Orgy Master Dan. So Dan, what do you think what is the genre of this?
I actually consider this one pretty definitely cosmic horror.
Oh yeah? Why do I agree with
we've-
you?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I feel like we've got the sort of descent into madness kind of trope of all the characters seeing these hallucinations, going crazy, thinking, are they crazy? Are they not? And then, of course, Dr. Weir, for real, goes crazy. And we've got sort of the other dimension with things, unspeakable things that once seen alter your mind and things, Yeah, I just consider it cosmic horror. Definitely, obviously, huge sci-fi backdrop and space, backdrop, of course. But to me, it's cosmic.
I guess I didn't consider it to be fully cosmic horror just because it's much easier to grasp what's going on. Even though, like, you're right, it checks all of the boxes that cosmic horror has. it just didn't fully click with me just because it wasn't really an avant-garde experience all in all. But granted, this came out in 97, so
That is
maybe
true.
that's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like as the viewer, I didn't experience the cosmic horror.
Like conventions, maybe?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when I watch cosmic horror, there's a lot of like, oh no, what's going on from my end?
Yeah.
And even though like there was a little bit of that in this, I didn't think that there was like too much, as much as like a
Right.
color out of space or other heavy cosmic horror things.
Right, yeah, that's why I was saying it's more like straight ahead, I guess, but it still definitely is like you're right.
I will quickly add, I also considered it to be cosmic horror for all the reasons that Dan stated, but in particular, I think not every cosmic horror story can deal with, fighting an old one, stopping them from summoning something.
For sure.
I think this was kind of a cosmic horror in this, even if it's not maybe dealing with some of the more classic beings. I think this one was it was more of a analysis of, they passed through this dimension that just warped them so much. And I think the concept of that warping, making, the ship into a living being, all of that, I can't really put that anywhere else outside of cosmic horror.
No, that's definitely fair.
But I think it's cosmic horror with a very heavy coat of sci-fi paint, for sure, 1,000% sure. Now, let's go ahead and there's a little bit of trivia here. So unfortunately, not only is he the orgy master, he also hosts the board game nights the night after. Dan,
Fair enough.
what is this secret X-rated cut I've heard about?
So this movie, when originally screened or whatever, as originally written, received a NC-17 rating.
Oh.
And it was much more violent, much more violent. And I think a good deal longer too, I believe.
Yeah.
And Paul W.S. Anderson was told that he needs to cut a lot of that violence and things out. So he reluctantly did. And then, put it out, got a rated R rating, whatever, all good. And then now he actually regrets doing that and wishes that, I was reading that he wishes that he had, released it as
The
he
fucking
intended.
bulls.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with him. I think I would have liked to have seen that. But apparently there's like some of the deleted scenes are like out there in the world somewhere. And I think I was reading that like they found like one of the film like pieces of it like out in like a cave or in like in the desert or some shit.
Bro, what
Yeah,
the
it was literally like some fucking like Indiana Jones type shit. And they
Goddamn.
found it, but it was too like destroyed that it couldn't actually be played and it couldn't be recovered.
Boo.
Yeah. So I guess there's still hope that it just might be in like the four corners of the world or some shit. It might be found someday. But yeah, so that's sort of we will never see the director's cut or like as intended, which is kind of a bummer, I think.
Bro, who the fuck put that in the cave?
Fuck if I know.
Who was like, I could hide the Holy Grail or the extended cut of Event Horizon by Paul W.S. Anderson. I'm going to put Event Horizon here.
I'll just keep the Holy Grail as a conversation piece in my den.
What? But that is a wild story. That is certainly a wild story. But, we also have to talk about, I think, and we've hinted at it, but I want him to go in depth. Nico, I want you to plunge to the depths.
I thought you would never ask.
What are some of the inspirations behind this?
I'm sorry.
What?
Real quick, to interrupt and go back.
Go back.
It was not a cave.
Oh,
that
I'm
was
sorry.
Founded.
Then
It
I
was
retract
founded
what I
in-
said.
Was it a fjord? Was it an isthmus?
No, it was a Transylvanian salt mine.
What? Wait, what?
Okay.
Yeah.
What? You are
Okay.
fucking with me.
Nope, that's originally that's for real.
I actually buy that more than the cave. Is that weird?
Well, a salt mine is a cave.
Like, that
I guess.
fits in my headcanon more.
In your
Fucking
head canon.
Transylvanian salt mine.
Like, this
Yeah.
motherfucker went through the effort. He was like, let me not only hide it somewhere, but put it so on brand.
I hope it was Transylvania, North Carolina.
Yeah, fucking right.
But real quick though, did he think the salt would preserve it?
Oh,
He was,
maybe.
like
Could
pickling
be.
it or some shit.
Hey, the salt could absorb the liquid, the moisture and
Yeah,
everything in
yeah,
there, you
yeah.
know?
Maybe that's what the dude was thinking, or the person. I
You,
don't know who hit it,
you can his
but
noggin.
yeah. But I guess in any case, thank you for
I'm
that
out of
amendment,
You're
salt
Dan.
to
welcome.
store my
You're welcome.
movies.
I add salt to all my movies post production. I don't know what you're talking about, but Nico,
So inspirations.
what were some of the inspirations for this movie? Do you think?
I
Not
think
counting motherfucking
God,
Alien.
the president, Father Time. No, not counting Alien. I think just definitely Hellraiser for one, with the whole like pain dimension and
Yes.
everything. In particular, just the descriptions of the Cenobites and all the different hellish vistas we see in there really did translate pretty well to Event Horizon. I guess you could also say Leviathan. No.
No. Try again.
Fuck that.
No,
Try
no,
again.
no.
I'm gonna pass it over to Dan, actually.
All right, Dan. Any inspiration? I'm gonna let you say Alien if you want to say Alien.
No, I was actually going to say, I don't really see a whole lot of alien influence in it, aside from
I mean, like the aesthetics and shit,
just
mostly.
space. Though I guess the camaraderie of the crew, I feel like was kind of alien. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know if that's, I feel like every space movie that I've seen that has that kind of camaraderie, or like the in underwater, like that kind of thing, similar, just underwater instead of space. But I feel like I always relate it back to Alien. I don't know if
Yeah,
they
that's
actually,
definitely a motif that reappears in
Yeah.
these kinds of movies.
but Hellraiser for sure. I mean, like Nico said, sort of the Cenobite descriptions, and even like when Doctor Weir kind of becomes, the big bad guy, like his face is all scarred up and everything. Similarly, sort of to how Pinhead is. I mean, he doesn't have the pins, but all scarred up and stuff. The gravity drive is like a big puzzle box from Hellraiser almost, and just so much Hellraiser influence.
All right. And I guess kind of taking it on a twist here, do you see this as a warning to not tamper with forces beyond our control? There was a kind of a scene.
I mean, if you found a videotape of some murder orgy, would you be like, yeah, I'll subscribe?
I'd want to know maybe if I can just get less murder,
Yeah.
more orgy. But I mean, literally, there's a scene, and I believe I could be wrong. It's either the pilot of the ship or someone else who says, you fucked with the laws of nature. You thought you could do this with no repercussion or whatever else. When
Yeah.
they're talking about having a gravity drive that could take you
That's
instantaneously.
what they were talking about, breaking the laws of physics. Yeah.
Yeah, between 2 points. And do you think there's a little bit of a warning here? And is that I hate to say it, is that a tire trope? To say that these movies are constantly warning us about the advent of science, while still at the same time, they've got like gravity couches, which are essentially hyperbaric chambers where they can sleep forever. Or not forever, where they can just sleep until they reach their destination. It protects them from the forces of gravity.
Yeah.
I mean, is that hypocritical at all, Nico?
I mean, yeah, I do sure hate Mark Zuckerberg, but I still have Facebook on my phone. So
That's deep.
Yeah.
Dan,
it's
what do you say?
I mean, yeah, I think it might be a little bit. I mean, especially when you start fucking with like nature and shit. Like, what are we gonna do next? Like, make bird people or something? Like, I don't know what.
Oh, that.
I mean, I feel like a lot of these space movies or similar things, the sci-fi kind of themed ones, do talk about that and do bring that up. I was okay with it in this too because it was sort of a quick mention. Obviously, like the whole like plot, I guess, is kind of based on that, but they don't really talk about it very much aside from one or two quick lines. It's definitely a trope. I personally wouldn't quite consider it a tired trope, but it's definitely a trope.
All right. And now this is something interesting I thought about. When we were all kind of thinking about inspiration for this movie, Alien, kind of like we said before, for the design and the interiors and such, but there weren't really too many other space-themed movies we really called. And I have to wonder, is there any particular reason why we don't have a lot more horror in space? If you think about it, space is one of the best places for horror. You don't know what's out there. It's the same reason that deep sea horror movies are so popular. I mean, we reviewed Leviathan on the podcast and Underwater. There's Deep Star 6. There's giant shrimp attacking people. There's a lot of stuff.
That's the title of the movie, Giant Shrimp Attacking People.
Hopefully. But I mean, there's so much stuff under the water. Why don't we have so much in outer space, Nico? What's stopping us?
I want to say that it's the limits of technology and shit, but we've come so fucking far since 1997 in just visual technologies and stuff. I think motherfuckers are afraid to go back to space. Like the last big space movie I can think of would be probably Ex Machina, but that's not a horror joint.
Ex Machina.
I
You know about Interstellar?
No, I'm talking about Ex Machina from A24. Although also Interstellar is, a big space movie, but it's not horror.
Ex Machina was on Earth, though.
I thought it was fuck me, was it? Okay, well, I'm a dumbass, and this serves just to show that, yeah, we need more space horror. Like, what the fuck?
Wait, Nico, you remember Moon, though?
Moon? Yo, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call that a horror as much as a drama, but it's adjacent for sure. Go check out Moon. It's pretty good.
It is pretty good. But Dan, any theories on your part?
I mean, I feel like there's a number of space horror movies, just not like recent ones. So I mean, of course, you have Alien and its franchise, which is a number of movies.
We had like Jason in space. It was like Jason.
I do not count that.
That's space horror. That is space horror. It's horror in space.
Bruh, they're in a spaceship.
It is horror in space.
Hellraiser 4.
Space.
No, stop.
Where
Cut that
is the
shit out.
spaceship?
Cut that shit out. Okay, if that's the case, technically, Nico, every movie's a horror movie because we are in space.
Yeah, you're fucking right about that, boyo.
Oh,
Well, we
let's
got
start believing in space horror
Shit.
movies.
Because you're in one.
Because they're in one. All right, so now we got that
anyways,
confirmed.
I feel like there have been a number of them, but lately in the last decade or something, there hasn't really been too many. I don't know why. Maybe we got spaced out. Like, are we tired of space? Are we?
We all just got lit as fuck.
Are there just like, can people not come up with new space plot, I guess, aside from, hey, we found an alternate dimension in space, or hey, what's an alien doing on our ship?
Another one.
Another one.
I think it definitely has to do with the legacy of Alien, and people are too afraid to compete with it.
Cowards.
Because when you really, really think about it, what other modern, aside from Prometheus, but that is another thing in kind of the Alien franchise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally can't really think of one. And like I mentioned before, I liked Interstellar. I thought it looked really good, particularly in 4K. And I thought that it was just awesome. So I don't know. And I'm sure someone out there, hey, listen, if you guys know of any kind of horror movies that take place in space, preferably in 4K, but if it's not, it's okay. I think that would be great, personally. Let us know, because I want to know more.
I don't, just Justin.
Okay, well, just me then, I guess. I actually have another question for you guys. So we talk about Dr. Weir and how he basically becomes kind of the apostle of the ship. Do you think he was more susceptible to the ship's kind of impulses because he made it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's not really much of discussion there because I agree.
I think partly I think partly because he physically made it and designed it, but also because he wanted it to be it's like his baby. His emotionally he's more attached to it than anyone else as well.
Plus, through his own past shit with his wife dying, I'm sure he had a deeper connection with the ship because he would, want to use that power to rewrite shit or something.
Yeah, it could be.
I thought it was very interesting that he was the one that was the most willing to deny. And then he ended up being the one that he was kind of the first one to really, really kind of lose it. And I don't know. I really thought that was interesting. Aside from, of course, poor Justin, who, I mean, he was like ultra traumatized. He really got a bad rap in the movie.
Yeah, he got fucked.
He got pulled into the gravity core. He got pulled back out. He got traumatized. His eyes almost exploded. Because that's what they said would happen to you if you decompress in the airlock. So that happened. shout outs to Captain Miller who saved him. That was pretty impressive.
Hmm.
I like the way they call him Baby Bear.
Mhm.
That was pretty cute, actually. I'm not gonna front.
They were like, Baby Bear, no. I was like,
It wasn't like a plot point. It's just out of nowhere. He's just Baby Bear. It's like, okay, yeah, fuck it, sure.
I was
It wasn't the one woman, didn't he call her Mama Bear?
Mama Bear.
yeah.
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 So
And it's those little details, like those little moments between characters that really do, I think, back up the dynamic that all of these movies have been trying to copy with the original crew of, the ship on the Alien. On the Whale and Yutani ship, I can't remember the name of it, but the fact that they had those little moments just to show them off, I think that's nice to see every now and then.
was the ship called the Nemesis?
Ho ho!
Oh, I'm playing. We enjoy that board game, guys.
Isn't it Mother? Right? Or
Mother was the computer.
No, that's the
That's
computer.
right. Fuck, how could I forget the ship name?
Wow, we've all just
Damn.
lost some credibility.
Wow.
No one was
This is
even
like
willing to
one of
look
my
it up.
favorite goddamn
I know.
movies.
No one was even willing to look it up so we could punch it in. All right, guys.
What's
But
Google?
in any case, let's have a quick chat about the legend of Cooper. Cooper is probably the member of this crew that interacts the least with the
Yeah.
Event Horizon. How did you guys feel about the scene where, and I don't know how I feel. So let me set it for the listeners. Cooper is fixing the Lewis and Clark after the pulse. He spends most of the movie outside of the Event Horizon. Largely, he's unaffected. I don't even think he experiences any hallucinations that we see.
I don't think so.
No, he's just chilling.
So after he fixes the ship, a turned Dr. Weir blows it up. He gets catapulted into space. He then blows his oxygen tank to propel him back towards the planet, screaming like, "Here I come, motherfuckers," or some. I forget what he said.
Yeah.
He said some shit like that.
Something like that.
Beast mode. Beast mode.
He should have done that instead. But my point being is, how do you feel about that scene? Do you think that bit of comedy was warranted?
I kind of didn't like it, to be honest, because it made him kind of fall into the more token black character to me, and in sort of the comedic, like I feel like it's always the black guy that's the comedic relief, and I didn't like hate it in this because I thought it was relatively well done, but I really kind of would have rather not
Plus he lives.
have been that. He did live, yeah, but it just, I don't know. I feel like if it was a different character, I would have liked it more, but I don't know. It seemed out of place too.
Yeah, my main criticism is that it seems out of place a little bit. There's little to no levity in the movie. True. Aside from, ironically, Cooper's jokes at the start of the movie. But I don't know. To me that scene was kind of out of place. But I am actually quite happy that Cooper survived with, and this is the most important part, his sanity intact. Cooper's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fine at the end of the movie, and I guess I really like that. I really like that. But
Yeah, he made it out the best out of all three of them, huh?
he did. He didn't die. Nothing bad happened to him. He was fine.
Benefits of being a funny motherfucker, I guess.
True
Yeah.
enough. So it's time for the what would you do? So first off, just real quick, who would kind of be the intrepid leader of the ship? We're going to imagine that we have other members of the crew. So anyone that we don't pick, they're basically like bots or NPCs or something. So
Bonner.
in the crew, what do you guys see? Like, what role? Not necessarily the character, but what role would you be in a ship like this?
Mm.
You can go by any role, really. It doesn't have to be one that was there in the movie.
Okay.
I feel like I'd be like a technician or something.
Okay.
I would probably be someone just on the ship to like shoot the shit and like help with people's, I don't know, like not therapist, but not
You'd be like the
therapist. I
ship's
don't fucking
counselor?
know. Yeah.
All right. I feel like I would be the lieutenant. I wouldn't be running shit, but I would have like a hand in running shit. So now let's say we landed on the ship, and at first they don't send any of the three of us. They just send a poor guy who gets sucked into the gravity engine, and then he comes back out in like a comatose state. They're like, "Nah, go explore the ship, you three." So we're exploring the ship, and you don't see any hallucinations, but you hear somebody scream and there's a dead body that explodes into frozen icicles. And we see the videotape of the murder orgy. At that point in time, what would you do?
I would leave. It's the videotape that did it for me, bro.
Yup.
Okay, at that point, I'm not convinced. And, Captain Miller is yelling at me. So I'm like, hey, I order the two of you search the ship.
Okay.
All right.
I mean,
I
we
mean-
can search on the way out. Like, go through these hallways as we are heading toward the exit in a safe and orderly fashion.
So now let's say, for example,
Wait, the fucking line leader. I don't give a damn.
now let's say you try to leave, but the pulse takes out the Lewis and Clark, so it has to be fixed. While it's being fixed, you're starting to experience these hallucinations. What would you do? What would your tactic be to try and deal with some of this stuff?
Buddy system. We're always two people together. That way, if somebody starts hallucinating, the other person be like, nah, you hallucinating. And hopefully we don't both hallucinate at the same time.
Then we're just fucked.
Yeah.
Well, you know what was fucked up? So I forget the character's name. I believe it was the ship's physician. It was her and
Yeah.
the pilot, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. He dipped.
And yeah, and they were both getting the carbon scrubbers, and then they were both going through the same hallway, and then he just like took off and left her behind. I was like, whoa, what a shitty shipmate. Come on now.
More like a shit mate.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
How did he die?
The ship exploded. Weir killed him.
Yeah.
He made it that far?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know she like chased the hallucination of her son and then like fell off and like
Spikes.
got like, yeah. No, I don't think that was spikes for her, but she like landed on the grate thing and just died that way. It was kind of a pretty mundane way to die. She just like literally just tripped down and fell through a hole. Like that was it.
I don't know. Now, let's say last scene, the ship, would you make the decision that Miller made if the ship has to be remotely detonated? Would you blow it up knowing that you might have to take yourself out with it?
Nah, that's on you.
Oh,
Captain.
actually, yeah, that's on you,
Captain goes down with
motherfucker.
their ship.
I'm the
Either
lieutenant.
you
I'm
or
not the captain.
All right, that's up to Captain Miller then. Captain goes down with their ship. I'm getting out.
The ship already went down in the back. This is the Event Horizon.
All right. Well, it's your
then.
ship now, bitch.
Yeah.
It ain't my ship.
I ain't gonna lie. Another thing about it that kind of fucked me up, and what I thought they were going to do, would be if I was going to attempt this rescue mission, I would have come in a bigger ship that was like not directly attached to the thing, and then that would have sent a smaller ship down. That way, if shit pops off,
true.
we have a whole crew up there that's like, wait a second, something's going on. I feel like you got to leave somebody
Yeah.
who's able to do the rescue. Also, when
You can't put all your eggs in one basket.
now I'm going to put you two in a different situation. Let's
Don't
say
ever put me in a situation.
let's say you guys are on the ship and I'm like, yo, we're just hidden explosive. Would you try and find it?
No, I
Or would you
fucking
leave?
Run, bro. I would leave.
Yeah, the fuck? No. I'm not gonna go searching through a whole fucking spaceship. Are you kidding me? Fuck off. No.
It was just a cargo hold.
I got a question for you, Justin. What would you do?
How dare
Oh,
you watch
yeah.
The Watchmen? Keep going.
Oh, how the turns have tabled.
Ah,
If you were part of a space crew and you got hired to do a mission and was never told what the mission was, would you do it? And you got paid well, I assume. I hope.
see, I feel like the answer is yes, because I'm dumb. So
Okay. Because they didn't know what they were doing, right? Until they got like far out in space and then
All they
Dr.
knew
Weir
was they were
told them-
going to like check out the Event Horizon because it
no,
really
they
weird.
didn't even know
They
they
didn't
were
know
going to
that.
check out the Event Horizon. They were on a search and rescue mission,
Oh right, yeah.
and they told them they were going to the 8th planet, Neptune.
Well, when I eventually create a sci-fi themed campaign, I'm gonna have to make sure to not include a rogue ship because I know you all are just gonna be like, nah.
Nope,
Nah.
not going.
So let's go ahead now and turn to the critical score, shall we? And I think we're going to be in for a surprise here. On Rotten Tomatoes, this movie has a 28% from the
Christ.
critics and a
Wow.
61% from the
God.
audience. Yeah, man. So, geez, I have no idea why I just did that or why I got a 28. So let's go ahead now, and I guess I'll start off with the person who's really, at the tip top of my favorite things in the day, Nico. What would you say is, see how we're doing that so I can see it now.
Exactly. We're not giving any context either.
What would you give this movie?
Okay, so when I first saw this movie, I thought it was a little hokey, but I wasn't as into horror movies then. Now that I'm much more comfortable with the trends and just horror in general, I like it a lot more, and I think it actually holds up still. I'm gonna give it a 76.
Wow.
It's got some flaws, but overall, I think it's greater than the sum of the parts. It's fun.
All right. Dan, where does this movie rank for you?
When I first started watching the movie, I didn't really like it very much. When Dr. Weir, like before they even get on the ship, is talking about his wife and how he misses her and stuff. Or I guess at that point they are on the ship. But like,
Where are you?
I was just kind of like, I'm not going to like this. But I enjoyed it. And I would give it a 75.
All right. I think mayhaps I like this more than the two of you. I would say, yeah, I'm going to give this one an 80. I think that this was particularly, gentlemen, the first 20 minutes of this film I found to be extraordinary. But no, seriously, I really did dig the first 20 minutes. I thought they're almost perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I love the way that we are given the computer text-ish intro telling us that, first off, what the fuck happened to humanity? We were supposed to have space travel by
I know,
by
right?
2015. We fucked up
We're
somewhere.
pretty far behind.
So basically, we get that intro, then we see there's a lot of the a little intro piece. Most movies kind of want to kick you square in the balls with a big opening and fanfare. This doesn't. This has a silent, almost deathly approach to the intro. I like seeing Dr. Neil, not Neil, well, he is Sam Neill, but Dr. Ware, I like seeing him in that white room. It's so off-putting. It's like a hospital almost, kind of like an asylum. It's almost like a foreshadow of his insanity later on. And I really dug the crew getting together. It did really remind me of the scene in Alien where they're all, they're I forget what they call them in Alien. The hyperbolic sleep
Xenomorphs?
pods. No, the sleeping pods in Alien that they climb into. Remember, they gotta like strip down to their underwear and stuff to get into.
Yeah,
Stasis
those
pods.
are the Sleepy Jerrys. That's what
Yep.
they're called.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
It's
So
my favorite sub place.
Because they jerry rig it. That was bad.
So, I mean, the hibernation pods.
Quit your gerrymandering.
I like how we get the effort to search for this sooner than what's the name of the Nostromo? One of the most groundbreaking films in the genre we talk about.
But yeah, no, I really dug it. I really dug it. So, would you recommend this one to a friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Now, does this get the golden seal of approval?
I'm going to have to say no, even though I do really like it.
I will have to say no as well.
I'll have to third that.
Well, you heard it here, folks. It does not quite get the golden seal of approval, but we do think Rotten Tomatoes was maybe a little bit harsh with their, again,
Yeah.
aggregated score of 28. Is there anything you guys want to get off your chest real quick before we bring this one to a cease?
Yeah, motherfuckers, what are your favorite scenes?
Wow. So I kind of said it, but my favorite scene is the beginning, really, with the ship out in space. Dan, your favorite scene?
Now I got to think about that.
Pass. Nico, what
I
was
can
your favorite
go
scene?
and right. So my favorite scene is when we first get the visual hints that there's something up with Dr. Ware. We see there are the editing in the scene is really frantic and frenetic, and it's organized in a way that reveals to you how sinister Dr. Ware actually is. So it'll flash between a different crew member's trauma, people talking about like what the fuck is going on, and then it'll cycle through to the gravity center chamber, core, whatever, and then back to Dr. Ware, and then back to the trauma, and then back to Dr. Ware, and just going back through that is just, it was really shot well. I thought that was one of the best scenes in the movie.
All right. Now we're going to go back to Dan with favorite scene.
I think my favorite scene is all the sort of little cuts we get, the few cuts we get throughout of the whatever the fuck happened on the event horizon, like the murder orgy and the, like I said earlier, near the end when Dr. Weir is sort of like implanting these images in Captain Miller's mind or whatever. I thought those were really cool because it just really showed just how fucked up whatever it was happened, and just the sort of bit of gore that we saw, the hellishness that ensued, I thought was actually pretty cool. And the frenetic, frantic nature of those shots kind of drove that point home for me.
Thank you for saying that, because if you hadn't, I would have definitely thrown in an extra one for the kind of hell dimension and the tape and everything. My only, and this is kind of my last piece, my only regret is that we probably won't, it's been so long now, we probably won't get that extended director's cut or whatever else, because I can only imagine how batshit it truly is with everything else they have going on. But
Bro, we gotta take some trips and try to find this shit.
all right,
On an adventure,
Nico,
To
bro.
North Carolina.
Nico, I need you to go to like an Antarctic research station and see if they've got one preserved.
All right, bet.
But
Sure thing.
you heard it here, folks. It's definitely something that we'd recommend. So give it a look out if you're into this kind of thing and you like what you've heard. But also, don't forget to, follow us on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at DOTD Horror. We're also on Facebook. Don't open that door. But that's been it from Nico, Dan, and of course, Just. Hit us up. Remember, if you're going on a search and rescue mission, use the buddy system. And please, dear listener, don't open that door. Bye.